Alright, so we've got a very special episode this time.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
So, normally we've got collection episodes, right? And that's like, get 2 remaining heart tanks and then go to the fortress stages or something like that. This was 20 minutes of collection, so if you stop watching right now, I will not blame you in the slightest. But this is basically all going towards all 120 rescue Reploids, all of the... it's just all of it.
Yeah.
And then as a special bonus, which we'll see momentarily, we'll also have all of a particular thing. It's also going to showcase the Shadow Armor going through basically every stage, too, so that'll be kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's like 1 or 2 that I need to go back to. And I think there's actually one that I need to switch back to the Blade Armor to get. So, yeah. This one, so this is Turtlewood stage, obviously. It shouldn't be hard to recognize these. There are 4 rescue Reploids in this hidden area. I think that's the most in any of the hidden areas. No, Maginian would definitely have one. I keep forgetting what's the secret zone. So this is like the second most.
Maginian has the suck.
Yeah. What sucks about this one, though, is it contains one of the really important ones for my strategy. One of the movement-related ones. And you still have to go through the same acid rain puzzle, which, again, is pretty blatantly right in front of you. This one is bad because all of the platforms are offset, so rather than most of the environments where you're doing this in where it's like straight up and down, like the normal approaching the boss door zone that we were just in, teleporting into this area, which has, the wire hooks, it's basically a straight shot all the way through.
Yeah.
This one is offset and is just full of spike hits. So if you drop straight down and can't really tell where you're going, which can happen pretty easily because it looks identical, and there's obscuring rain, and you might have nightmare darkness, you might just land right in the spike pit, which is less than great. My only really advice for this area is to just go systematically. I fell a couple times. Try to not fall. That way you can just kind of do a grid search all the way down in a big, zigzag pattern. You shouldn't miss anything. So we already beat High Max, and now we're going into the third of 3 special fights. And this one is really exciting to me because it is Dynamo. Dynamo didn't die in the end of X5.
Oh, yeah, he just fucked right the hell up.
Yeah, which is, again, that's the reason he's one of my favorite characters. Not my all-time favorite or anything, but I love that he actually has the written common sense to do that. And I'm also pretty sure... So, he doesn't die in this either. You fight him and then he retreats, because that's just part of his character. He gives you maximum possible 600 Nightmare Souls per fight. So there's one. I'm doing this with the Shadow Armor. In order to get him to drop these, normally you'd have to hit him with his weakest weapon, which is, Meteor Rain, which is kind of a pain because of how it fires. And you'd have to hit him with it twice, basically. 2 individual shots, because the first shot will hit him 2 times. You need to hit him with 2 separate projectiles.
Don't they have to be in rapid succession?
More or less, because otherwise he'll recover. When you hit him with the second one, then he'll drop the Nightmare Soul and it's good to go. Since you can't use weakness weapons with the Shadow Armor, and this will also apply to High Max rematch fights, the Crescent basically does that for you. The trick, though, is that it needs to be at a certain distance from what I was finding. So you kind of have... It's almost like Marth in Smash Brothers. You need to hit it with the very tip of the sword, as far as I can tell. I might have been wrong about that, but that's the overarching strategy that I go with. And you only need to do it the 3 times. He'll drop you 3 souls, and then you can wham on him, and everything is hunky-dory. But then the second thing is that in each of the 8 secret areas, he'll have different dialogue, and I think I tried to do it in an order that kind of makes sense, because all of them are basically anticipating it being the first time you see him.
Yeah.
And so there's 2 of them that directly conflict, did you happen to see what the text box opening was for this one? Okay. One of them is basically oh man, Dynamo, you're still alive, what? And then there's another one that's wait, Dynamo, you're here too? And it's yeah, you already fought 8 times. So that's kind of irritating. There's not really a lot you can do about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty directly. So this is one of the more irritating alternate routes, because again, you need to have the Fireball Nightmare effect from Heatnix's stage active to get back in that area in the main stage. And this is all still just 100% ice physics. So there's those spikes going down with limited visibility. You're also getting bombarded with the fireballs because they can't not be here, basically. And then there's just spike pits all over the place. You can do this on a second run-through with the blade armor or other armors by using Ice Burst to lay a platform down in the middle of the spikes and then jump across. You might be able to finagle it certain other ways. Obviously, the Shadow Armor is the easiest, because the spike pits are just inconsequential at that point. But you also can't wall cling. Yeah. So if you fall down in the holes, you're screwed instantly. And this is kind of neat, because all of this carries over into the boss arenas too. Mm-hmm. So there are certain nightmare areas that are slightly altered battle-wise. Like this one, you're on a floor with ice physics. Mm-hmm. So it'll actually affect you. And so we're fast-forwarding through these now. Yeah. Just all of it. But, that was I knew you did it, but then I looked down for a second and looked back up and it was just going nuts. But yeah, so that's that one. It's really straightforward. There's just the one hidden Reploid. Right. And I don't think that one's super important because, truth be told, I don't think I've ever actually gotten that one before this run-through. Not that I didn't know where the portal was, I just always kind of ignored it. Yeah. So
I know we don't get it in the irregular run at all.
Yeah, well, we miss a bunch in that one. Oh, it's got a jumper. Okay. So I guess I usually go without jumper. That's good to know. So next up, we're back here. This one is mostly a my bad situation. Since, again, I would have been able to get the two up here if I had been paying full attention to the environment, but I just saw spikes, and touching the side of the spikes kills you. I think I went over it in the episode where we passed them initially, but that's that.
It's like that you had to go through all the fucking laser puzzles to get to this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of neat. It could have been optimized better, but I like the idea of that being the branching paths. And we got some
nightmare blocks.
Yeah.
God, the perspective does not work on those.
Not even remotely. Also, I love like the weird semi-transparent globe shit going on in the background and the maze of the Minotaur. So yeah, it was just those two. So we're at 100% on this one as well. That's all I've got to say there. We're gonna fight Dynamo and fast forward again. Let's see what he has to say this time. Okay, I think I was trying to shoot for that one
first.
No, because there's the two first ones. I think this one, obviously this is one of the two. Yeah. But I think this one could also kind of work if you did it last, where it's like you're still fucking here, but it wasn't the most important thing in the world for me to do.
I like that just X doesn't have the time to deal with it. It's like, just leave. I don't give a
Dynamo,
shit.
goddammit, I just want to instant teleport from this empty room. No, I've got this. Oh, God!
Oh, my computer can't actually handle the speed up at times.
It's okay. I think this is one of the rare instances where we have to, like, pause and resync shit. It won't be a problem.
No,
yeah, so that's 3 Dynamo fights now, I think?
Yes.
Cool.
Speed ups get even faster as we progress forward.
And yet, with all of this trimmed content, still 20-minute episode. Oh my god, no, I see it going past 23 minutes.
It's 23 minutes. That's the final time.
Oh, well. Great. So, just going over some quick shopping list, basically. It sucks. There are so many stages where it's like, you missed one half.
Museum!
Yeah, well, the museum at least kind of has a reason for it, but again, like, there's 2 or 3 that it's just like, there's just one left, or there's just 2 left. It's like, just, god damn it, like...
Especially when it's the museum that has the just one left.
Yeah. Yep. Whoa, did the museum only have the one left?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I didn't think that was like that on this run-through.
So. No, but you get to a point where it's just, hey, that one dude.
Okay, so this is the important one. I should be going in here with the blade armor. Okay, you did edit it right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I don't... You might be able to if you, like, really put all the parts together, but that's easiest with the Mach Dash and the mobility parts in certain combinations. I imagine if... Because you can stack all 3 mobility parts, Hyper Dash, Speedster, and Jumper, and that shit gets done real fast. So I imagine you'd be able to do that jump with any of the armors. I just think the Blade Armor is kind of easiest.
I want to see that with the Mach Dash.
I don't think the Mach Dash's distance changes at any point, but, like, trust me, there's actually very few spots where it's even worth doing because it can actually hinder your progress. But having all 3 of those at the same time basically just makes it like X is on them. So, like, it is ridiculous. At some point I'll, like, go through and get, like, a little nugget of video for that. But, yeah, it's real dumb. Like, just for the sheer, like, massive bounce. Oh, this is why. So you can get that upper area with that combination.
Shadow Armor, yeah.
This one, you can't with, like, I think almost any combination. You basically need the Mach Dash to go through here in a straight line. Because I tried just so many times to do this with the Shadow Armor, just for consistency and also because I like it, but like, if you have too much of a jump arc, you can't get past that because of the lower wall, and if you don't have enough of jump distance, you can't clear the gap because of the wind, so it's like, there's just nothing you can do here. Or no, is that this part?
Yeah.
The other part you can clear if you're right, but this one is just like, what do I do? So, yet another example of a potential spot where you might just have to kill yourself over and over. Also, that was,
you did
one of the few spots where you can see going through the door with, like, the Mach Dash frame, because you have to hit it at the very end of the animation. If you hit too early, then it kind of just goes into the wall cling, and if you do it too late, then you just come out of the animation and you fall. So, glad I got that at least once. I think this is the one that I was trying to do first. So yeah, oh, you know what it is when I had the data loss when we were recording, I had it in a correct order that time, and then when I went back into it, just super frustrated at the fact that I
lost. You got a game over on this, did a hard reboot, and you had saved in like 4 stages.
Something, yeah, so just like, oh, I'm furious, time to just do this and whatever, I don't care. Just don't give a shit. That speed is delightful.
I really should have just cut out warp out animations. I could have trimmed so much more. Like, I left this shit in just because I like seeing.
Yeah, no, this part I like that it's in because it is kind of a good visual representation of, like, here's how we're progressing.
And now we're back in this fucking stage.
And this is another instance where I don't think you can do it with the Blade Armor.
You can't, because I had to sit through that footage.
Yeah,
Shadow Armor, where you're just jumping for...
You're welcome!
For like 5 minutes you jumped there. It's like, okay.
I very much apologize for that. It was a learning experience for me too. But that means we can, like, decisively say, just don't do that. Like, it just doesn't work. Just come in here with the Blade Armor. And, like, it's weird that the Shadow Armor is supposed to be the focused on mobility armor, and yet there's, like, 3 instances in this game where, like, you need the Mach Dash to get places just because of how straight it goes. So, that's kind of a pain. There are ways to kind of get around it, but more often than not, you just don't need to bother. Like, it's just not worth the effort.
So are the nightmare these just completely random with when they spawn, how many spawn, where they end up?
I think it has to do with distance traveled, or, like, button inputs. So, like, not necessarily distance in the stage, but, like, okay, you've taken this, or, yeah, so step, basically.
Right.
I think. And I think they will cap out in a certain way where it's always, like, there's 5 on one side and 5 on the other side, but, like, I've never really bothered to count, because I usually try to get rid of them before it becomes an issue, and it's shitty, so I just don't pay attention to it in the first place. But, yeah, so now we're gonna fight him again, but this time in front of the magmas. I love this, like, ha, you look busy! It's like, Dynamo, just fuck! Meanwhile, though, it's super important. So part of the reason that we're including this in the collection episode, it's not just to be a pain in the ass, is A, to show off the dialogue, because that's kind of a thing that we're shooting for.
Yeah.
And it's the only one that you can do that conveniently without having to redo a bunch of footage, because the other two, once you beat them, gone. But we want to hit 9,999 Nightmare Souls, and this is very much the easiest way to do that. So, it's 1 part text completion, 1 part farming completion.
Yeah.
All parts tedious.
I think after we got 100% of the items, you still had to fight them 6 more times to get max souls.
Yeah. Although, to the game's credit, and there's very little of that, I bypassed a lot of the Nightmare Souls in this one, more than I should have. Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it would have been quite as much of an issue, but there were a couple instances where it's I don't feel like picking this one up right now, and that does kind of pile up. So I think they're worth 20 a pop when they're at their biggest, before the nightmares respawn, or something like that. So, over the course of a stage, if you're getting all of them, it'll stack up pretty quickly.
As we just saw there, we have all the records in every stage except for the museum.
Yay!
Museum.
That also means that the museum has 2 more parts to collect.
Yep.
So, oh, hold on. There we go. It can't handle the museum quite right, so it's just there we go. But yeah, and so anytime the museum, there is one slight benefit to having the farm here, and benefit as in keeping track of where you are or where you've been.
Yeah.
Is the Alia Lost dialogue will only appear in places you haven't been before. So if you come into one and the alert comes up for X to be like, Alia, where'd you go? I need your lovely voice. That means you're somewhere that you haven't been. So it's an immediate trigger of okay, there's something to collect here. I need to be on my toes.
Yeah.
And then likewise, you won't be able to pick up a Nightmare Soul if it's the same area. That will change if the Nightmare effect changes things. So if you go here with one effect, then leave, then come back and it's that same effect, there won't be any. If you come back with the other effect that can be there, that will recycle, which is another farming strategy again. So if there's a particular stage that has just shit ton of nightmares floating around, you could cycle that and maybe potentially do it quicker than having to beat stages with Dynamo over and over again. It's really just kind of player preference, because in my opinion the Dynamo strategy is easier. Also, that sucks. That is a very easy one to lose. Typically you'll want to do it with the Mock Dash again, but I've got jumping enhancement parts, and then the way the Shadow Armor works is if you're holding up and then jump, you kind of go into the ceiling stick animation, even if there's nothing above you, so it's a high jump, and that can get you up there quickly and conveniently. So you need to know where it is. The Blade Armor is just easier to do it, because you also get that moment of invincibility, or intangibility, whichever you want to call it. I think it kind of applies either way. At the very start of the Mock Dash, since it's kind of an attack, but not really. It's like a pin-straight nerfed version of the Falcon Armor's flight feature. But yeah, I don't even remember. Do that thing that I was talking about. Hi, Thunder.
Oh, I hope we don't lose power during recording.
Do we want to do a brief pause and save real quick and then put it together again? We'll be right back, everybody.
Yeah.
And we're back, just in time to leave. I think... Or no, this is me cycling the museum some more.
Yes. You got all those in one run, which was just magical RNG, but...
Yeah, it can happen. One thing that I want to clarify here, since I was, really uneducated about it in the irregular version, which I'm sure people have already been like, that's not right, or no one's watching because it's X6, and also the irregular version, is when you are in the museum, you've got that RNG. I don't know exactly when it procs. It might be when you're going through the totem. It might be when the stage starts and that's it.
Right.
There's really no way to tell. But if you die and go back into the totem again, it's going to be the same level. It will be a different configuration of the same room.
Right.
Or it can be. So, this one, the destructible blocks might not be... The big blue ones, not the rocks. Those are a nightmare effect. But, so the big blue crate blocks might not be there. And then, there might be spike pits and stuff like that, but it's the same overarching room layout, just like all kind of shifted around different. I guess kind of like the danger room from X-Men, if you want to equate it to something. I know there's a better example of it somewhere.
This is a good thing to have in an institute of learning.
Yeah. So this is one of the more irritating things, is you might miss that rescue Reploid because you see the portal, and you're like, okay, I gotta go through the portal, and it's after that. So keep progressing, get that, then cycle back and go through the portal to keep doing stuff. Because I think there is at least one rescue Reploid in here, too.
Yeah.
So if you want to optimize what you're doing, as soon as you see this room, it's really worth getting all of them at the same time. Even if it's on your initial boss run, I'd say just get it out, as long as you can. Like, if you're about to fight High Max and you don't have one of his weakness weapons, then obviously don't do that. But,
honestly, I'd still say get it out of the way.
Yeah, I guess.
Because fuck RNG.
Yeah. So, this one has a lot of nightmares in it, and you can see them up in the top right there. So
I think there's a nightmare.
There is.
Right up there,
that one is one of the tricky ones. It actually almost gets lost in the irregular version, but I'm great, and it doesn't happen in either of them, including when I'm panicking and we're all being stupid, I still manage to get it, so... that is one of the hardest secret paths to go through, purely based on the RNG. So what I was saying earlier is the only way to cycle it, as far as I'm aware, is completely leaving the stage, and I think you actually have to enter another stage.
You do.
Okay, so, yeah, you have to enter another stage. You don't have to beat it, you can just, like, enter it and then hit escape, provided it's one you already beat, or, just game over. Like, you don't have to beat a boss or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the museum can be cycled, and as far as I know, the rooms can show up in any one... Thank you. Let's as far as I'm aware, the rooms can show up in any one of the 4 totems. There might be, like, first phase ones and second phase ones, but I've seen them shuffled up so many different ways that either A, I've lost my mind and really don't have any frame of reference, or B, they can show up on any one of the totems. So, if you are going through and you're capable of completing the stage that you're stuck with, just go for it and go all the way until the 4th one before you give up hope, because the chances are there that it might appear at some point.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry. This is one of the most complex stages in the series, just because of the RNG. Like, there's the 12 rooms that you might end up in, and it's just crappy all around. So, take that information how you will. Also, that was a surprising amount of talking for 23... We were worried. Like, we were coming into this episode thinking, like, what are we going to talk about for a 20-minute collection episode about Reploids? But winging it. Winging it works for stuff like this.
Trying to be explanatory really helps.
It helps that I'm good at talking way too much. Oh god, do you want to challenge me?
No.
God damn it! So, thank you for trudging through that with us.
Next up is the last areas. Finally. God damn it.
So we are off to the fortresses next?
Unless there's more Dynamos that I missed, but yes, it's Fortresses next.
Hooray!